3.3 Graphing Intercepts. In 3.2, we graphed using the t-chart. And we chose -1, 0, and 1 for x very often. And I said if there was a fraction with x, so I'm just put fraction with x, we would choose the denominator. So denominator. And then if there was a number with y, we would choose the number for x. Well, now we're going to be looking at using a t-chart, but we want to graph intercepts. And so we want to talk about what are intercepts. And so when you think of the word intercept, you want to think about where the line crosses the x and y axes. And I'm not really sure how that would be plural. I'm going to go with this for now. And so if we were to look here on this graph, at these 2 points is where the line crosses the graph. And if we were to identify those points, the x-intercept right here would be -4, 0. And the y-intercept right here would be 0, 3. And you're going to be asked to graph using the intercepts. So that takes us back to the t-chart. We'll be able to use 0 for x and possibly 1 or -1, depending on, we'll still be looking at these situations. If the fraction with x, we'll choose the denominator. If there's a number with y, we'll choose that number. But we'll have to also choose 0 for the y so that we can get this x-intercept. So let's go ahead and look at how we'll use this information in an equation that says graph, or it may say plot the intercepts. So here we have x minus y equals 2. Our t-chart now will have a 0 for x and a 0 for y, and then of course we need that third dot. So I'm just going to go with 2. So we'll have x minus y equals 2, and then we'll take and put 0 in for x, and so -2 equals 2. Divide by the -1, and so then this would be -2. We'll do our equation 3 more times because we want to finish filling this out. Nope, that's not what I need. This time I'm going to go with x minus y equals 2, and I'm going to put the 0 in here. And then x minus 0 would give us x, and so x would be 2. Well, then that's not a good choice if I've already got x as 2, so let's make this -2. So negative 2 is x minus y equals 2. We'll add 2, divide by 1, negative 1. And so negative 4. Then let's graph that. And you want to be certain that you are graphing the intercepts, especially for your homework. It will be very picky, and then we'll use the third dot on your homework to do the checking. Here we will graph all three. So 0 and negative 2, 2, 0, and negative 2, negative 4. Okay, find something with a straight edge and connect the dots right in the corners if you can. Well, my pen's not going to cooperate again, but you get the idea. Okay, so let's look at this again. All right, so remember, when we have a fraction with x is when we'll choose the denominator. So 4 and 0, and we're doing the intercepts, so we have to choose a 0 for y. So this is what we need to fill out. So y equals 1/4 times x plus 4. We'll put our, well, I'll start with the 0. Well, let's start with the 4. One-fourth times 4 is 1. So y is going to equal 5. Then we have y equals 1/4 times x plus 4. This time we will put the 0. And we'll have 0 plus 4, y equals 4. Then we're going to come in and use the 0 for the y. So negative 4 equals 1/4 x. To get rid of the 1/4, we're going to multiply by 4 over 1 on both sides. Let me get rid of that little line. And this gives me an x, and we're multiplying. So negative 16. No, what have I done? Yes. That's going to be it. Okay. Okay, let's try this problem. And remember, we're looking for the intercept, so we have to choose 0 for x and 0 for y. And then I mentioned earlier that, you know, if we have a fraction with x, we'll choose that denominator. But let me move it over here. Okay? So we've got y equals 1/4 times x, and we'll put in 0. Y equals 0. So if it's 0, then x is going to equal 0. Okay, well, we have a problem here because this is just one dot. When we go to graph this right there, we need at least 3 dots to prove it's a line. I've only chosen one other. So I'm going to also choose -4 for x. Okay, so let's finish this. We'll have y equals 1/4 times x, and we'll put 4 in there this time. And then we'll do it with a -4. So this will be -1. Now we can graph this over 4, up 1, -4, -1. And we want to draw a straight line through this. I'm freehanding it. You should not. Use something with a straight edge, a ruler, your ID, and a credit card, and lay it down on your paper. Okay, so you see when you go to graph the intercepts, you'll only have 1 here because there's not a number out here. And so you'll have to do another dot on course compass, but remember, always check that 3rd dot before you hit check answer. Let's go ahead and look at another example. Oh, our -x is going to fly in the air. -x plus 3y equals 3. Remember, the other time that we're not going to choose -1 and 1 is when we've got a number with y. So we're still working on intercepts, so 1 for each. And then let's choose 3. If we need another number, we would choose -3. And so we've got -x plus 3y, then the 0, okay, and then let's do -x plus 3 times y equals 3, 0 for the y this time. Okay, divide by -1. So, if we had used the -3, that's what we would have gotten for y. So now we want to use -x plus 3y equals 3. I know I'm very close to the edge. And let's put in a 3. Plus 3 plus 3. Divide by 3. And let's graph it. Make sure that we're graphing both of the intercept numbers. So 0, 1, -3, 0. And then +3, +2. And then we've got a straight line going through there. Now, hopefully your line will be better than mine. Okay, now that's about it for this section. You're going to have quite a bit of practice with your T-chart and with the graphing itself. There is a video on how to graph on Course Compass, and I recommend that you watch it. It's one that I created, and so it's on the same page with your other lecture videos. It'll be helpful if you haven't watched it already. Hopefully you've already watched that. But on this section, 3.3, you've got to remember to graph x and y intercepts. Or it might say that your problem's wrong. Okay? All right, good luck.